It's spinning. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Astrology. We're three astrologers. Myself, Ann Ortley, here back in New York. You can see from the black chair and the plant. And my friend Mark and Heather get together to talk to you about the astrology in the sky and how to work with it and what to do with it and what can make you happy. Mark, what's going on with you? Where are you?
In New York City, just across the island from you.
I know. How's your broken toe doing?
What?
And this is Heather Rowan Robbins speaking to you from southern Utah. I just drove up from Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I did a couple of talks, and I'm heading back to Montana. So this is the end of the first day of 3-day drive, hence the motel behind me. So
very cool. And we're broadcasting from a motel in Utah, which is nice. So that's good. Yeah. So kind of a wild and crazy week ahead. It's been wild and crazy behind. We have the moon was out of bounds. We have a lot of void moons. We had a big long void moon for 38 hours, 36 hours. And then we're going to have another one tomorrow afternoon at 3, void all day Saturday till like 8 at night, 9 at night, East Coast time. So with the void moons that we're having, it does, a lot of times it gets everybody all riled up because the moon's void and you're like, So just take a chill pill, because when void moons are happening, a lot of times the universe just kind of goes, well, it's a little dramatic, but really, you're okay. So kind of pay attention that way, because I think that helps a bit. And we just had the full moon in Sag, which was 9, and then the moon was out of bounds for that. It was out of bounds for the Capricorn moon. So now the moon's coming into Aquarius, calming down, but we're going to have a long void moon in Aquarius. And then Pisces, so it's because the planets are at early degrees, all the big outer planets. A void moon happens when a planet makes the last aspect to a Ptolemaic, the big 5, conjunction, square, opposition, trine, or sextile, makes the last aspect to the outer planet, to the planets, not counting Chiron on. So it says, okay, I'm done working, I'm going home. Now, in a regular job, you can't go to your boss, hey, the moon's void, but, I want to go home. But essentially, that's the energy. It's just not kind of showing up. So you can work on projects, like continuing projects. Don't go buy a bunch of groceries because you won't eat them because you'll go out to dinner all the time. So allow for the energy to kind of kick you back and have you think about your dream, because all these planets are getting together in July and they're all going to talk to each other because they're all in the new signs, but they haven't had a conversation yet. When they have that conversation, July 17th through the 20th or so, that's a big deal. If you get on the internet, everybody's talking about it. But remember, none of us have lived through these planets in these signs. We're not 84. We haven't lived through Uranus and Gemini. We're not 165. We've not lived through Neptune in Sag, in Aries. And we're not 250 years old. We've not lived through Pluto and Capricorn. So all the cray-cray that's out there.
Yeah.
Take it with a grain of salt, and then go look up Aquarius words, Gemini words, Aries words, and see other ways to use the energy, because that helps a lot. So that's my comment on this crazy.
And with all these planets in early degree, all the outer planets in early degrees of sign, we're going to be seeing a lot of void, of course, moons. Jupiter leaves Leo at the end, leaves Cancer at the end of the month, and everybody will be in those early degrees, getting ready for that great lineup in mid-July, July 19th, when they're all at that degree, 4 to 5 degrees. And that, kind of get the hang of working with the retrograde, with the moon that's void, that to finish up, complete. But if you really need to do something, you have to provide your own momentum. There'll be less happening around you.
Yeah, there's a little expression, my get up and go got up and went. That's what a void moon feels like.
That's a really
where's my get up and go? It got up and went.
Got up and left, right? Yeah. I like that one, Mark. I've not heard that one before, but that's so true. So don't sweat the small stuff, because with all these void moons, unless you're really monitoring it, we're in the flow, we're in the float, we're in the figuring it out, but the planets are all making their plans. It's kind of like if you've ever been in a show and performed and everybody's backstage and they're all a little hyper and they're all kind of running around. And this one's doing the vocal practice and that one's standing in the corner chanting and that one's pacing, like the whole sky is active, but it's not doing anything, which is helpful, I think. Or when it tries to do something, it fails, which is why
Well, that's kind of hopeful news because this administration just announced another 10% tariff on Canada. They've just said they're taking 140 religions off the accepted list for the military. And they've decided that grizzly bears don't need 2,500 acres per grizzly bear. They just need 1 acre per grizzly bear. And so let's hope that none of those go through, none of those succeed. Or I was thinking, you go tell the grizzly bear that it only needs 1 acre, but I want you to be on that acre when you say that.
I like that, Heather.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're not on the acre when they say it. You're kind of like,
right.
yeah.
And the bears are busy this year. I mean, Ben just scared one in the woods last week and went running and lost glasses but was okay. But the grizzlies have been really, all the bears have been acting up. Japan, here, all kinds of
bears are the Jupiter and Cancer, the bear constellations in Jupiter and Cancer. So, yeah. So I'm not surprised. Yeah, they got Jupiter, in its exaltation going, roar, I'm a bear, So.
And we had 3 coronal mass ejections from the sun in the last 2 days. We're supposed to have amazing aurora borealis over the next couple of days. And that always, it's like turning the heat up under the popcorn. All the aspects get a little bit more excited and all the politics prepares to jump. So we'll see this. And someone says, do we see the chats in real time? We do, but when we look over instead of look at the screen. So yes and no.
So the answer is maybe. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Because we're talking, and actually Heather sees them, Mark and I don't. So
yeah, I pass them on when I can. And one of the other things that I've been seeing out here where the skies are big and beautiful is that Venus-Jupiter conjunction that's going to be exact next week, and it's coming closer and closer together.
Yeah, which is very nice. They're getting friendly. They're really pretty. The other day when the moon was up there, I was like, "Ooh, look at the 3 of them! They're so close!" And I thought they're going to even be closer in a couple of days. And we like that because Venus, we know, meets Jupiter once a year, but Jupiter's in his exaltation. And Venus is very happy. Now she comes back in bounds on the 6th of June. So she'll be in bounds when she meets Jupiter, which is okay. But Mercury is still out of bounds. I think he's out of bounds through the 16th or 17th of June. And then we have a long Mercury retrograde. So he's gonna go all back and forth June, July in Cancer, bringing emotions to the forefront for us to be emotionally connected and committed. Right? I like to think of Aries, get the ideas, air, you get the idea, and fire, you have the vision. You can see the vision and talk about it. But until you get that emotion in there, you don't actually create. So when Mercury's in water signs, all 3 retrogrades this year, he wants us to go, okay, so what are you emotionally committing to? Yeah. Not just talking about it. So
keep that mind and head connected in a good way. Mind and heart connected in a good way.
Good.
And I mean, I think on somebody asked their sun is at 4 degrees Aquarius. Are they cooked? I said to everybody that, wherever we have those 4 to 5 degrees is where we're going to feel the action this year. But that doesn't mean we're cooked. That means we are in the transporter beam. We're changing and we're transforming. Remember with Pluto, if you try to hold on to what you were or what was, and when it's the sun, it's what you are, it can feel like a loss. It's like a caterpillar letting go of being a caterpillar. But if it looks at what it's becoming, turning into that butterfly, if it's looking into what's becoming, it can be transformative, empowering, and beautiful. So notice what's being born as you let go. Don't necessarily identify with what's leaving, but don't try to stay the same. This is a time to work with all of those changing times.
Yeah. And I remember I would pitch people to Pluto, you're turning it into a caterpillar. Into a butterfly. I mean, great. And then one time somebody said, I want to stay a caterpillar. Okay, well, take it up with Pluto. Good luck on that one,
And
so.
there's the raven coming to eat you right now. Right?
Yeah.
Might be quite amazing what it is. And that, I think this week is going to be interesting to talk about that emotional connection. We have a Venus-Jupiter exact conjunction in Cancer. On the same day, we have Mercury-Saturn square. I wonder how many people are going to get married that day. It's a good day to make emotional decisions, not hurried, but to think it through and say, if I want to do this, where do I want to commit to something that is worthy of my heart or worthy of my art forms?
Right. Okay, that sounds good. Got my little guy here, Remo.
Remo.
Yeah, we went to the vet. He had a face that looked like a friggin' chipmunk, and he had an abscess, so they drained it.
Oh,
He's got a little bloody thing on his face, leaving blood all over my furniture.
honey.
I'm a Virgo, so I know, honey boy, come here. At any rate, he's good. He's on antibiotics, and we'll see what happens. But he's kind of like a little more like mom hold me than he normally is. Yeah. So he got drugged and he got aspirated.
Was that this week?
That was yesterday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I flew home Monday. And
this
then,
Mercury Neptune,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And the series on the Uranus is when it really popped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday was an exact Mercury Neptune square.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing up where we are, there was in Montana, a storm flooded, just got stalled for 4 days. And it helps with the drought. Some parts of Browning Reservation and Rocky Boy Reservation got 7 inches of rain.
Wow.
But that will refill some of the aquifers that were pretty empty. I just drove past the Rio Grande. It's almost empty, and it's really scary.
Wow.
But so the flood came, and I gather the creek was way up, and one of our fields flooded, but that's fine. But I can't go up the driveway until we fix it. We have to go around. Because part of it got washed out, and that's Mercury Neptune square. But I'm also seeing health issues from people and like your poor dog, which is swelling, or something came back, or they didn't know it, or they having trouble diagnosing it with that Mercury Neptune square, and that we might be finding that as the water goes down, as the Neptune goes down, all this week and weekend, we're straightening out, we're getting the infection healed on your poor cat. And we're coming to understand or diagnose or see what's going on in a way that we might not have this week.
Yeah, I have 3 other friends that have 2 things that are swelling and having to operate down. So I'm kind of like, there's a little preponderance of bad teeth. And he was having, I have his chart. He has Saturn in Aries, was quincunx's moon in Scorpio. So I thought, well, we're bringing you to the vet. This is not something that's going to go away by itself. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
There are fur babies, right? So
there are our fur babies.
Yeah.
So we have a question from we have 2 charts we're going to put up today.
Okay.
And this one, she says, I'm currently working full time. My career has been project manager for research studies in mental health, behavior health, and prosthetics. And ideas for this next stage of my life. And then she's been doing that since sometime between October and December of 2027. She wants to finish that and then step into the next phase of her life. Any ideas? Volunteering around environmental issues, other ideas? And she plans to downsize. Is it a good time from where to do that? In the end of this year? Not this fall, but next fall. So that's what we have to look at with her chart.
Well, I like working with the amputees with the Uranus, Venus, Moon, Mars. It's very good. That's very good for amputations, and then helping them learn how to walk again. Over to the series in Scorpio. It's a T square in fixed sign. Yeah, so that's a good job for you actually, and optimistic. The Sag rising. and Jupiter in the 12th, helping them be optimistic about what has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you've got Saturn going over your south node, but that's not until next spring. So that often makes you go, okay, now I'm actually ready to shift stuff out. I mean, you're feeling it now because Saturn squared your Saturn and Neptune is squaring your Saturn, but I don't think you have a clear vision what you want to do next.
Mm-mm.
And so that would be, I would wait a little until the vision's a little clearer. Your moon's in Scorpio. 6 months from now, it hits that Neptune. Part of the way your chart works is it has to be inspired, because the Neptune and the Saturn and the Mercury all talk to each other. So Mercury rules your work house, and Neptune is, do I believe in the work I'm doing, right? And so that's important. And as that progressed moon comes to Neptune, think what you were doing 30 years ago when it was there the last time, back in 96. It was that when you started going in this work, and now you're ready for a new chapter. So
it feels like you've got some finishing up to do in that home, with Saturn going through your 4th house before it heads into, when it goes into Taurus in about a year and a half, 2 years. That's when you'll feel like I've relocated and things are done and I'm moving on. In about 29 months, your progressed moon heads into Sagittarius, and you'll be on the other side of this, retired and looking forward to the next phase. And the idea of doing environmental things will really make sense then as your progressed moon goes into Sagittarius. But it feels like you've got a personal karmic journey to go on as you feeling like you're completing the chapter with work, and then taking a rest and catching up on some relationship issues while that progressed moon in Scorpio goes through your 11th house, before you really feel like, and I'm off to the races on my next chapter. Give yourself some time for this magical, transformative time.
And also kind of go back and do clearing out some of the old psychological baggage from your teenage years and from age 44, 45 in there. Whatever's stuck in those things, like you've got letters, you've got papers, you've got things from then where you're kind of finished with it, but you haven't let them go because of the fixed nature of your cardinal cross, or of your fixed cross. So that letting those leave is helpful. In the same way, when someone loses a body part, you help them get a new body part, but it's not the old body part. So you're kind of have to do the same thing with your chart this year. Like, what are my new body parts going to be in my old, what's my old body part that I want to let go of? If that makes sense.
Mark, what do you see?
You have kind of a lot of negativity around what you want to do. It's not really negative, but there doesn't seem to be a positive response. So don't expect positive response, especially the next 5 months or so, until that progressed moon reaches your Neptune. And you'll find the lack of a positive response is going to lift from there on. So you're preparing for that, and listen to the objections. They'll come up right away. And now is your time to get an answer to the objections so that you can sweep them away and do your transformations.
And someone commented on when we were talking about the wedding dates possible. Too bad that Venus-Jupiter conjunction is exact on a Tuesday, and I do laugh at that. I got married on a Tuesday at noon the first time because it was such a good astrological date. And it was such a good astrological date that divorce was a royal pain 10 years later. So be careful when you choose a really good time that you really know that it's the right thing. And so anyway, that was, I just see that you can get married on a Tuesday, but you can also, anytime that Venus and Jupiter are conjunct, and they will be technically conjunct for a couple of weeks here. So,
yeah.
And so the next person.
I remember watching George Clooney, and he had that big wedding in Italy, and I'm like, horrible aspects, George, horrible aspects. But he went in on the Monday after the wedding, and that's when they actually got married because they had to go into Venice and marry in City Hall. So that day had great aspects. So as I'm like, oh, that actually is really I'm much happier, George, that you picked that day. But he had to go to town hall and do it. So yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And the next chart, that is, I mean, it is. Sometimes you see the with people that actually get married on terrible aspects, and either they're heading into the problem, or they will, sometimes they have to handle those problems together. But we have here Catherine from California, who says she really loves enjoying listening to our show. The question is about Pluto squaring her natal Mars over the next year or so. On a recent Pluto station, a situation was initiated that led to the breakup of a friendship group. It came out of nowhere, but the astrology tracks. Almost everything in chart ultimately answers to Mars, and I'm currently in a 4th house Mars ruled perfection year. It's also connected with the transiting when Mars and Pluto squared in the sky on May 25th, dealing with a burst water pipe on the property. I feel like it's one thing after another. I need to understand this Mars energy better because it seems like it hits every part of my chart. Maybe a mantra to get through this period. How can I handle this? So, and this is, I've also got her aspects here that we have, it just things like have been dramatic, that Mars is catching so much here from her chart. So, but, Jupiter and Venus are very close to her Saturn right now. What do you see, Anne, as far as this interesting personality and how she can handle her Mars stuff, and what's a good mantra? Because her Pluto will be talking to her Mars for most of the next 2 years.
Yeah. My camera froze, so you're not going to see my mouth move, but it's all good. The Sun Venus, there's a Sun Venus cazimi. She's born on a Venus star point. So there's a Sun Venus cazimi that's taking into going to be at 0 Scorpio on her midheaven on October 23rd. So what I find happens when you're finishing up this cycle, for her it's a natal cycle, it's an 8-year cycle. When she's finishing it up, the chart's kind of looking for solutions, and with the transiting Uranus, or progressed Uranus rather, on that point, it is a lot of drama. So sometimes you have dramatic times, and because Pluto's in your 1st house by transit and is talking to your natal Pluto right at that edge of the midheaven, so they're very public. You're going to have very public Pluto experiences because natal Pluto's up there at the top, kind of getting stuff cooking with your part of fortune, right? So he's up in the 9th house, kind of saying, all right, we're changing your direction, changing your fortune. I think it gets easier when it's a physical fail, because your Pluto and your Saturn, they're in a sign square. But I think once you finish your Saturn in Aries in the 3rd house, a lot of the stuff will be more internal rather than so that's something to look forward to. But right now, to your point, it's been very physical. It's ruptures, it's Scorpio, it's in the basement. I would watch for mold too with this placement. But I also find with Pluto in the 1st, it's teaching you, well, you can you can make great plans, but you're not necessarily in charge of stuff. And with your progressed moon in Gemini, a lot of drama, in the environmental areas of your life, because the progressed moon's coming up to Saturn. It's going to be there in about 20 months, 21 months. So that'll help, because then Saturn calms down a little. But he's a big guy in your chart, and
and Saturn's forming a grand trine to the moon and Neptune right now.
Yeah. And so just kind of
stabilizing.
It's stabilizing, but it's not finished yet. So I would just say you're kind of in for a little bit of a wild ride, especially because you got Uranus has to get off your south node, and it's opposite your Neptune. So it'll be kind of like, all right, what's the message in this one? And I think you might meet interesting people cleaning out your basement, that kind of thing.
And I think you kind of like a wild ride. This chart would rather see the house burn down than be bored.
Mhm.
So, that Leo moon squaring all that Pluto, Scorpio up there conjunct in the 10th. This is a time to actively take on big challenges. It would be a great chart for being an EMT for a while, or just saying, where can I go help real people that are having real problems, or how can I, if my overhaul my basement while I'm about it. Don't do things small, but do them with consideration, and that you're good at handling real problems. You're good at emergency. You've got that Mercury Uranus conjunction that's quite ingenious, and it's so kind of use that actively to take on worthy challenges for you rather than try to stay safe, because that's not going to be the purpose here. But you're in a kind of high evolutionary time, and to work with Pluto in the best of ways, let go of old things that you used to resent or used to think you knew where you were going, old ambitions, as Pluto squares that Mars, and find ones that really work for you now. That's what I see. Mark, what do you see?
Look for your transits this summer. Remember those degrees 4, 5, 6. You have a whole bunch of planets that are going to get lit up, and Pluto is one of them. So he's going to kind of direct. He's like the conductor of the orchestra for you,
Yeah.
and the other ones are players, and they'll all get excited and they'll all bring something to the party, and you will too. So keep an eye on your chart and see what's getting the energy each day.
Yeah, very, very affected by the moon too. And also with that moon in Gemini for another 5 months, you have to do everything 2 times, the progressed moon. No way around it. You think you did it, and then you go, I didn't do it. I did that, I didn't record it. I did this, I didn't. Yeah. So just kind of honor the volatility of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Mark, we're coming to closure. Do you want to say one more, lead us out with a meditation on letting that Venus-Jupiter conjunction into our hearts?
Yeah. Take a moment to sit in your chair. Put your feet on the floor. Feel your grounded feet on the floor. Feel the top of your head lifting toward the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. Exhale slowly. And then think about Jupiter and what Jupiter brings in by way of blessings. Connect that with Venus and see where in your life you could use the most sense of blessings. It might be in your body, it might be under your mattress, it might be in your safe deposit vault, but think of Jupiter and Venus and where you can most use blessings. And these are blessings that you don't have to earn, they just come.
Yep.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. So I'll say goodbye, and this is Heather Rowan Robbins saying goodbye from Southern Utah, and I'll be back in Montana by Friday. And Anne
Orley saying goodbye from New York, frozen here in my little chair.
And Mark Waltz saying goodbye from New York, and hello to Anne back in New York.
Yay! Mm-hmm.
Has it changed? Did it change while you were gone?
It did, actually. There's a new restaurant right around. There was a little deli place that's gone, and there's a new restaurant there in the corner. When I walked in, when I came back from the Cap the other day, I'm like, ooh, I have to check that place out. It was the one, because I'm in a residential area, so we kept all our restaurants during COVID because we all ordered in. And the one place that closed was this little jazz club that played live music.
Aww.
Called Session 73, and they got replaced by like a little Chinese market or a bodega, and now that's gone, and it looks like it's back to being because it's a really cute little cozy space. Looks like it's back to being about food again. So I'm going to have to look it up and get my little butt
Wonderful.
over and check it out. Yeah. So,
I'm still
Okay.
dealing with the shock of having gone to New Mexico, and it's been 8 years since I went there, and I lived there,
Oh.
for 15 years, and it is so different. It is so changed, until if you in Santa Fe and the main Taos, Albuquerque line. If you get outside of that, it's still New Mexico. So anyway, goodbye. See you next
bye,
week.
everybody. See you all next week.
Okay.
Bye.